Hello and welcome to You Beauty. This is the podcast for your face. I'm Kelly McCarren and welcome to The Formula. Today, I'm sure you're just as excited as me to hear from the absolute icon that is Trinny Woodall. So let's get straight into this conversation. Trinny, welcome to The Formula. So Trinny, you've spent the last few decades helping women find their personal style. How has your personal style evolved over the time, and how has it changed through your different eras that you've had?
I think that sort of teens was discovery, like most people, on both how I dressed, and then I got acne. So also with my sort of how I presented myself, the outside world was really, that self-confidence was hindered by feeling people talk to my spots. So I would do things in my style to counteract it. So, and at the same time, I also discovered a store that, now is old fashioned, but then was so innovative, called Benetton. And it had all this color. And I loved the color. I love that concept of color. And the first, I had this yellow twin set. So weird when I discovered I loved yellow. But it gave me this communication with other people a bit too. So it's always had a really big impact. And sometimes I've been appallingly unstylish and worn the worst fake tan and the most terrible makeup and had a really bad skincare routine. And then it's got better. And then I've had another stage. Like all of us, we have this breakthrough and we get into ourselves and we get in the groove. And then we have another moment of faltering.
I call it a flop era.
A flop era. And we just need to rethink our routine. So it goes across everything. It goes across your skincare, your makeup, and how you put yourself together. So, for me, everything in a way is culminated with starting Trinny London, because it's sort of brought that together of how can we present ourselves to the world and feel good.
I love that. And I completely agree, because I think there are just so many different times where you might feel like you're trying to hide yourself more as well.
Yeah.
Especially if you have acne. I had awful acne in my 20s.
Did you? Yeah.
Well, teenager and then 20s. And I feel like lots of photos, I've got my hair.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm wearing hats and such because I just felt so uncomfortable in my skin. So you started Trinny London because you were actually decanting products yourself. Like at home, you were pulling them out of different palettes because you didn't want to take everything out. Is that correct?
It's sort of two things. One is that I led a life where portability was important. And also I was never happy with what I was sold in its entirety. So whether that was skincare or makeup. So I was, I used to do it with skincare too, that I would sort of put retinoids into my body lotions, and I would, take vitamin C and dilute it or make it, just kind of, I liked playing in my bathroom and then looking at what impact things had. And then the same with color, and especially also with what I call now hybrids, because I would take my skincare and I would add in some color. And that's in a way what became one of our cult products of BFF Skin Perfector, because I would think, SPF, you never wanted to put on because it was always such a horrible formula, and it's evolved a lot since then, but then it was. And then you had to layer them with foundation, or then you decided instead I want to be glowy, and none of them could be one thing. So I thought, let me do all one thing. And, at that time to me, SPF 2 was like the medicine. It wasn't the sweetie.
It wasn't fun.
No, it wasn't fun. And it was kind of, yes, it was an afterthought a bit, but I also really had seen the damage of sun. And I wanted to start to get women to understand that sense of protection. So, when I had done this myself, it was for me to make something I could wear that would give me protection, but feel that my skin looked good, because SPFs had always made my skin feel it looked matte and flat and had had the life taken out of it. So that was that mixology I'd done in the bathroom, which then gave me the inspiration for a lot of things which became formulas at Trinny London.
And I guess making things that you wanted because you assumed, well, surely other women, other people want this too.
Yeah.
And since you began, how have you seen the beauty industry as a whole change and evolve? And do you think...
Hugely. I mean, in interesting ways, not all of them positive in terms of the influences. But I think that the positive thing is what you can really do with ingredients today, because we have our own lab. So we research ingredients from scratch and we find very innovative ingredients. And, there's things that are trends like the peptide trend and the mini protein trend and the exome trend. And then there's really getting into the detail of what actually is the point of that ingredient or that delivery method that you could utilize with a really good ingredient. And then it's discovering a lab that might make that singular ingredient and then reading the clinical. So that side of it I adore, because I think then you can make a difference, which 20 years ago you couldn't. If you bought a cream, it was always about the amount of, and this still applies today so much, and I find it quite amusing. And even I find it in some people who are experienced in beauty industry, is they'll, go like that with the cream and they'll go, that's such a good cream. All I'm doing right now, by the way, for those only watching, is just rubbing it on my hand.
It's like, how do you know?
Or they'll sniff it and go, that's such a good cream. And I'm like, you just sniffed it. You just like the fragrance, if it has a fragrance in.
Or you just like the feel of it.
Exactly.
You don't know if it's a good cream or not.
So I sort of say, you don't know.
Yeah.
Take it home and try it and then come back to me. And so we don't start that way either, because a lot of people start with they'll either white label or they'll start with a nice chassis. I call it a chassis, and then they'll put in ingredients, and we start with the raw ingredient and then we build around it. So we think of a task of something we want to solve, and then we think of what are the ingredients we'd love to put in it, and then we start playing with those ingredients. We see if there's frenemies or enemies, because some ingredients don't like each other, like vitamin C and retinoids, they don't love each other, and they also degrade their efficacy. So the most strenuous one was probably, we did an eye treatment called Take Back Time, and I'd always disliked eye creams because when I was a beauty journalist, I interviewed a plastic surgeon, and he had said that when he lifted up women's faces, the concept.
Oh my God.
He would found this fatty deposit under their eyes, and he thought, I wonder how much of that contribution is from so much oil, heavy oil going through their skin, and that puffiness that they want to get rid of is only being exaggerated by the types of eye cream they're using. And I thought, I will never use an eye cream. And then I got to a stage, because some things come from personal, and other things come from my feeling we should develop this now. But with the eye cream, it was definitely that feeling of, I'm starting to get crisscross lines. And I thought, what do I want to do most with an eye? And I thought, everyone knows they want to slightly get rid of that crisscross line. But also, if I could lift the eyelid a tiny bit, that would be great, because we feel our eyes close in on us and become smaller in our face as we go down the path of life. So we kind of knew what we wanted to achieve. We'd read the clinical on the mini protein. We then put other ingredients in it that we really liked. And it kept falling apart like a mayonnaise. It sort of split because some ingredients don't like each other. And so it split. 57 incarnations later, we then had the right formula. And then went in, we're looking at the consistency and stuff. And then after that, you do your compatibility testing. So that then takes, and so this has been a year and a half, right? Then you do compatibility testing. That then takes even accelerator, which means that you sort of put it under extreme conditions, like really make it heat, really cold. You throw it around a lot. And then you start checking it on women's skin. So when we do clinical trial, we do from 20-year-olds to 75-year-olds, we might take 90 people, but we're really specific in who those people are. We take people with skin sensitivity, somebody who might have been allergic to one of the ingredients we have in it, just literally test. And then you do consumer trials after that, and you start to...
People have no idea how much goes into the launch of these amazing products. Like they just think you go, you know what, I'd quite like to make an eye product. Let's release something. And then a few months later, there it is. There's so much involved.
Yeah, there is so much involved. I mean, the thing is, it can go either way, because you can do it many different ways. And there's many big houses in France and Italy that will have a nice basic formulation, and somebody comes along and says, can I add in my fragrance and some nice marketing levels of ingredients and put their name on it? So a lot of products are made that way, and they're very nice, and you have them in your bathroom and you try them and they feel lovely. And they might be basic good formulations from formulation houses, but I never wanted to do skincare that way. I knew I didn't, because I had tried so much stuff, and I felt I'd bought into a marketing dream there, or I bought into something raw that was just too unstable there. It's like spent a few years.
You didn't want.
Yeah, I did. I knew what I didn't want so much. Yeah.
You are quite open about being opposed to the anti-aging movement.
Yeah.
Which we love. So what's your stance on aging and how we as consumers can change the way that we think about it and how we're being marketed.
I think that what was so interesting, I had this conversation with beauty journalists this morning at breakfast because they've gone to a lot of press things recently where it's like longevity. You know, they're just taking the word from the supplements industry, frankly. And I think that's like not the new word for I hate the word anti-aging. And I don't like the word pro-aging because what it's doing, it's like saying, I'm happy I'm aging. You know, there are some women thinking, another line. But I also believe that if one honestly looks in the mirror, you only notice the other line if you feel tired.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you feel full of energy and really kind of awakened by life, it doesn't matter if you have another line or not. It's irrelevant. And you see life differently. So for us, it's how do we make a woman feel full of energy and how do we give her things that will give her skin energy? You know, and that's kind of how we believe in a skincare philosophy. So I have, you know, saying on my Instagram, my daughter finds it cringy, but I do believe it strongly. And I go, age is irrelevant. It's about the energy you bring.
Oh, right. I couldn't agree more.
So I think that's how I look at it. And I think there's other words we've used occasionally as a brand, which only are relevant for a certain age group. So we talk about agelessness, but that's kind of, you know, if you're 30, you might cringe at that. And if you're 50, you'll go, yeah, I want to be ageless. It has a different meaning for different people. So I just feel that we want to give you solutions to how you feel about your skin, but we're not judging you by your age.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that makes sense. And I think as well, the part of the thing is though these days that ageless is so true now more than ever because sometimes I've got absolutely no idea how. I'm like, you could be 25 or 55. I actually don't know.
That's so true.
I've got no idea. It's just so it feels like it's more accurate now than ever to a certain group of people.
Yeah.
Because no one knows.
Unless you have things. When I turned 60, I remember I was on this morning show and somebody, he's really a lovely guy, but I just pulled him off on it. He said, Trinny, you look so amazing for your age.
No,
and I went, Ryan, you could stop it. You just look so amazing.
Yeah.
You know? And I also do. Then I found myself that I knew I'd said that because then I was seeing a woman, because I meet lots of women and they sometimes say, I'm using your products and guess how old I am, you know, because they want to show me, look how much younger I look because I'm using your products. And I go, I sometimes would guess and they'd say me their thing. And I'll say, you look so young. I think that's pretty, why are you saying that, Trinny? And other times when they say, guess my age, I'll say, I don't want to because it's like,
it's
you
irrelevant.
Just look somebody who's full of energy and alive and that's all I need to know.
Exactly. Yeah. And you've got beautiful skin. It doesn't matter how old you are. Maybe we should start doing it to the 20-year-olds. Maybe.
I mean, the thing is, we could talk about that now because I am so, there's 2 or 3 things that really not upset me, but just I find challenging in the kind of younger beauty consumer space, which is way too many ingredients for ages of skin. So like,
like the 10-year-olds using retinols?
As 15 or it's
Go
insane.
to a slumber party.
Yeah. Sorry.
Why are you using a retinol?
Yeah, it's like, whoa. And then this kind of beef tallow, slugging, you know, things that you're just going to populate acne on a skin that's quite oily and it's got really active sebaceous glands. And, you know, Lila came back and she was like, what are you doing? Beef tallow, TikTok saying, and I was like, Lila, this is like bovine collagen, which won't go in the skin anyway. It's just going to block your pore. And no.
I love it. My favorite thing is when vegetarians are using it all over their face.
I know, they have no idea.
You've got no
Haven't
idea
you got the word beef, what that means?
Yeah, you're smearing that all over your face. Yuck.
Yeah. Even Vaseline, because that's a way.
Oh, yeah. So you're known for championing skin first, makeup second. What is one skincare rule or makeup rule, really, that you think everyone probably should break, that you see people saying all the time?
I'd say something that in makeup, I would say wear the foundation the color of your skin. Don't buy a foundation for the color of your skin you wish it to be, which is what lots of people do because they feel I'd like to be a bit more tanned or just feel a bit more, you know, whatever. But it's going to make me notice the foundation more. And, you know, if it's really the color of your skin, then you can build on other stuff. So that's a big one. And also start where you have something you most want to cover. A lot of people you see on the gram and TikTok, they'll just start at their cheeks. And that's usually where somebody needs the least amount.
Yeah, there's
and
nothing
it's like start
there.
in that T-zone where there's a little unevenness or a little redness. So that's my kind of makeup moment. And I think with skincare, it's your best friend's skin is not your skin. And so many people buy something because their best friend goes, oh, this is amazing, and they buy it. And I'm like, and we have Match to Me, which we've had since we started Trinny London on makeup, and then we did skincare, but I just changed it now because we gave back quite a complex routine. And for some people even, some people just buy our whole routine because we kind of educate in the steps. And when we launched as well, skincare, we spent a month going back. So we did a month to talk about cleansing, and then a month talking about exfoliating and breaking down acids, a month of speaking about daytime vitamin C's, and then a month of speaking about retinoids. So people, even if they thought they knew it, it's like some people don't really know as much as they might think they know.
They think they know a lot because of TikTok and Facebook, and that they read an article, but they don't actually. And I think that's one of the biggest, and then they're sort of passing on advice that might not necessarily be accurate.
Yeah, or using something for their skin which they shouldn't use. So we ask quite specific questions around skin sensitivity, and also how sophisticated you feel about how many products you use. And I also want to understand, you somebody who's going to jump to treatments, and I can see that person because the health of their skin is not good. They might have fewer lines, but the health and vibrancy of their skin is not there. And for me, health and vibrancy is more important than not having lines.
And I think it makes you look a lot healthier and then more youthful because you've got hydration and nourishment in your skin, and it's just glowing more. I always say I think I have better skin now than I did when I was 20 years old, and despite the acne. Just in terms of course I had a lot of collagen and a lot of just beautiful youthfulness, but it wasn't good skin. It was, I drank too much. It just, now it glows a lot more because I use the right products. Whereas back then I didn't.
And then you have other people, because I remember, because you and I had that sort of acne journey. So we always felt on a path to discovery. It's probably why you became, a beauty director.
Always been so interested.
Susanna, who I worked with for many years, had the skin like peaches and cream, classic baby skin. So for her, she, would, where everywhere around the world would work, here it happened to, and then she'd like have a drink or have a few drinks and then go to bed in her makeup, get up next morning, and she'd watch me as she was falling asleep going, you're spending 20 minutes getting ready for the evening. I mean, that's so much time. What are you doing? And I was obsessive. And I thought, sometimes I thought, God, I'm so like, but I wanted to look after my skin. Anyway, she turned a certain age and she called me up. She went, Trinny, what the give me the list. My face is falling apart.
I need it.
Literally. And there are, I think there's two extreme variations of women. There's people who experiment with every single thing because they've had to go through rosacea or some inflammation of the skin. And then there's people who've had immaculate skin. And then overnight, it's like the Nora Ephron book. What happened to my neck? It's like, and
then they're asking their other friends, please help. Because I've got no idea what's going on. What is one beauty product or skincare product that you wish existed but doesn't yet? And I say yet because maybe it will.
Oh, yeah. Something where you'd feel you wouldn't have to wear so much foundation if you felt a need to because you had some kind of skin inflammation.
Oh, okay. So it would be like a serum then?
Yeah.
That sounds pretty amazing. I think we would all like that, actually.
Yeah.
Anyone that wears foundation a lot. What is a beauty insecurity that you've had?
Acne.
Acne.
Yeah. I mean, we can both share that one because it is like they're talking to my spot, kind of waking up early when you're with a boyfriend. You don't want him to see how bad it is. Going to a restaurant thinking, what's the lighting like?
When you just mentioned that, about wearing a lot of foundation, my now husband still mentions when we first started dating or were friends, how much makeup I wore, and that he was a bit like, he didn't, whatever.
But it was like,
he was like, dear Lord, but I was just so self-conscious that I would just pack it on, and I knew better. I wasn't that young. I knew better, but you still do because you're trying to like mask, hide behind it, even though you never do. All you're doing is sort of making it all an even color.
Exactly. I mean, I used to do fake tan, and I was like a pizza face.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you could create a what not to wear equivalent for beauty trends, like a beauty trend intervention, what trend would you ban and why? You can have a few if you
okay,
like.
Beauty trend intervention. Slugging, beef tallow, kind of when people do these really complex things on TikTok about how to put your makeup on, and using crazy, like kitchen utensils to make a line. It's like, just,
They're doing it for the views though, right?
I know
Like,
they
I'm
are,
sure
but
they're
it's
not
sort of-
sitting at home actually
I'm
using a
sure
fork.
they're not. And there's a very funny woman we work with called Genevieve Talley, and she used to be a nurse, and then she started doing makeup. She's really such a sweet woman, but she takes the piss out of those TikTokers so beautifully. It's so funny to watch.
And the shedding ones in the morning,
Oh my God.
where it's like,
Yeah.
I sometimes just think, surely this is taking the piss,
I'm going
because
to
you're
say
not.
into that dermaplaning.
Oh, you don't like it?
No.
Oh, I
It's
love
shaving.
it.
It's shaving. It's cutting your hair raw. Okay, so it's shaving it. And I think that some people, when I've sort of been quite vocal about this, they said, oh yeah, but it's just taking off the baby, fluffy things. But the thing is, that's if you're using it in your 30s. But if you're using it in your perimenopausal, menopausal, you've got coarse hair there. And if you cut it like you cut a razor, which is what it is, it's a blade, you're not pulling it out by the root, which weakens it and then softens those little granny hairs that come in, as it were, in your 40s, 50s. Such a lovely thing to
I
look
am
to.
still in my 30s and shaving my face. I
Yeah.
didn't think about that.
Yeah, I think it's an age thing, because I know it's not great when you get to a different age. Yeah,
That actually does make sense though. But I have already started getting the little granny that you just feel out of
it's
nowhere.
just like you kind of, do you find yourself at dinner and you're just going, I'm just
and
like
it
this?
has to come out as soon as I can feel it. I'm like, you must come out right
Yeah,
now, because I
yeah.
just can't stop playing with it. And I'm just so aware of it all of a sudden. And then it's like this awful coarse long hair. Where did you come from?
I know. I just,
What's one beauty trend from the past that you'd love to see make a comeback?
Oh my God, I've never been asked that. And I'm just thinking of things that I loved. I think when you look at the beauty of 1940s black and white films, which we've seen in that sort of Tilbury, Lisa Eldridge thing, there's a certain ultra feminist thing, and I think it's been done again, but with a lot of bronzer. And I loved it when it was very pared back, and there was just this kind of one thing to focus on. And now things are slightly blurred, which I like, but there's sometimes that look has been done with a lot of bronzer, and I think it took away the beauty of the look.
The porcelain.
Kind of. I mean, the thing is, everyone has a different skin tone, but it's just the keeping to your skin color.
Yes,
it's that more. It's not about the color.
That's sort of what
skin.
I meant with the
it's just like
porcelain.
it's like the naturalness of whatever your skin color is, instead of bronzing it or
contouring.
Yeah, or contouring, exactly.
So let's move into your bathroom cabinet.
Yes,
because your skin is just so beautiful.
I feel it's like had a few tired days, but thank you.
No, it's so beautiful. Can you walk us through what's in your bathroom cabinet and what your routine looks like?
Okay, so wherever I am, I take the same thing. So I never compromise my routine. So I kind of like have minimums of, so we do travel sets, stackable ones.
And I love that you're wearing one as a ring too.
But we have skincare ones too, that stack too. So I will always do in the morning an AHA PHA cleanser, and I'll do it with a Foreo sometimes, because I like to just leave it on, because it's like a sort of mini mask, and then I'll do that. And then if I'm traveling, and I do this a lot more, I take a bucket of ice and I put my face in the ice.
Ooh, that's one way to wake up.
Yeah, really wakes you up. And then sometimes I take some of that extra ice and I go in the shower and I do put it, I just rub it on my skin. And then I also do the 5 lymph wake up. So I'll do the tapping, just pumping by your chest, between your chest plate and your clavicle. And then I'll go front and back of your lymph nodes around your ear. I'll do the back, just down, the back of the top of your spine. And then I'll do under my armpit, stomach, inner thigh and back of knees. And then I jump for 60 seconds because it's kind of gets your lymph flowing.
And
so
also, I guess, really gets your heart.
So it just gets the flow of energy going in your body. And then I'll do exfoliant, PHA in the morning. And then I'll do, it is not simple with my routine. And then I do a peptide hyaluronic called Plump Up, which is one of ours, and a new thing I can't talk about yet, which I'm doing. And then if in the summer I go straight to SPF, we have one called See the Light we don't sell here yet, which I hope we will soon, which is a phenomenal 50, but really hydrating. And in the winter, I'll do probably one of our moisturizers, and then BFF Skin Perfector, which is a 30. And then I just go on to, I might do a lip, cheek and eye really quickly. I might do Trinity, which is this kind of stick, which is matte one end and glow the other, depending on how quick I've then got to get out the house, you know. And then in the evening, I will do double cleansing, and it's a ritual. I'll get home and I'll have that real sense between the manicness of my day at the office and then coming back, and I'll really take time and just have that. Even if I'm going out for dinner, I'll do a cleanse before I go out for dinner. If I'm going straight from the office to dinner, I'll just put BFF all over, smudging, and it wakes my face up. But otherwise, I'll go home, take everything off, put it on again, because I just feel it separates out my day.
When you know what you're doing, you can do it quite quickly.
Yeah, it can be.
Sometimes people say, "Doesn't it take a long time?"
No, like about 4 minutes.
Yeah, I can be very quick if I need to.
Exactly.
Can also take my time, but
but otherwise I can. And then I do my evening routine is double cleansing, and then I alternate every 3 nights 3 different things. So one night I'll do a PHA, and then I'll do some microneedling, and then I'll do Plump Up, which is the peptides. They go in deeply, and then maybe I'm going to be really candid. I'll do, if my skin's really very strong, I'll do a retinoid, but it's our overnight clarity, and then something called Elixir. And then the next night I'll do an AHA, but I won't do the retinoid, and I won't do the microneedling. And then the third night I might just do Plump Up and microneedling. So for about 2 months, I'll do this every 3 nights, microneedling, and then I'll stop.
And do you notice a difference with doing it?
Huge difference, especially on places where it's very difficult to get things into your skin. So on your neck, because there's no sebaceous glands, and our neck suddenly, when we have hormonal changes, you really overnight notice a change. So if I do this crisscrossing with a 0.5 needle on my neck, and
then, roller?
Yeah, we make a microneedle.
Oh, okay,
great.
Yeah,
we do a 0.3 for America and a 0.5 worldwide here too. And then I do peptides, because peptides, we have 6 incredible peptides, and they are, I think, the best thing post a microneedle. You don't want any fragrance near it or anything, but you can, you're creating a channel for product to go in, but on a 0.5, I think you're also micro-tearing the skin a tiny bit, so it does that self-repair. We only really produce collagen after our 30s if we're reacting to, some damage to our skin. So on that level, I think it's fantastic. And not to be scared of it. I don't put huge pressure on it. It's not like going to a dermatologist and getting them to do it with a 1 needle, but it is really, really effective. I love it. Yeah.
Do you get the professional needling treatments?
No, I find actually doing it in this routine that I do, I don't. I haven't had one for about 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, your skin is just beautiful.
Thank you.
If Trinny London were a woman at a party, how would you describe her?
Oh, my God.
Like if you just met her and you were tell me what she's.
I would say she's the good, loyal friend to other women.
A girl's girl.
She's a girl, for sure. She is so a girl's girl.
I've been described that before, and I was like, I think that's the biggest compliment I've ever been given, because that's all you kind of, what a lot of us just want.
Yeah.
We don't want to be described in any other way.
No.
One last question, and it's a bit of a dream scenario. If you could style anyone, beauty and fashion, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
I think it's a woman who's gone through a really tough time and lost herself, and it's not somebody famous. Yeah. Because they can get all the help they need from somebody else.
Exactly, yeah. That's such a good answer. And as someone who I very much so lost myself postpartum, feeling myself come back to life has been one of the biggest privileges of being myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, just to find yourself again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I could have so many more questions for you, but you're a very busy woman. You've spoken to 900, how many was it? 900 and something while you've been in Sydney. So we are just so grateful that you gave us time.
It's so nice to be back here. I love coming here. Yeah.
The Ubies are going to just eat this chat up. They're going to love it so much. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
If you like what you watched, make sure you like and subscribe, and let us know in the comment section below who you want to hear from, what products you want us to try, or what questions you have. Bye!